Yo, what's up, Mary and everyone else, fam, mom? Mary bought me this cool shirt from the International Crane Foundation. Keep calm and crane on. I was going to take notes for this video, but I'll just freestyle it and see what happens. This video is mainly for Mary, but I'm going to try to make it, a broad appeal. So, first I want to say to Mary, I'm going to work as hard as I can to get you put in the history books, because I know you would love that. I'll link to an article here, but at the first major Black Lives Matter event of this year, last year I put on a smaller event. This event, the guy Eddie Huang from Fresh Off the Boat ended up paying for the venue to scale up. It ended up being a venue that held like 400 or 500 people. Maybe I'll do a little editing and I can throw a picture here of how big and crazy it was. But because of my role in getting Black Lives Matter, Taiwan started last year, I was asked to speak first. And I started with Assalamu alaikum, because I thought that would be hilarious. And I got a few walaikum salams back from the audience. Then I said shout out to 2.5 white women, my mom, Mary, and my wife, Magda. And she's half Syrian. And then I gave, this is really funny, this is in front of 400 people. I gave a shout out to Terry Branstad, who I'm assuming most people had no idea who he is or who he was, but Terry Branstad was the former longest serving governor of Iowa, and he is the current ambassador to China. And then I gave a shout out to the Iowa Mafia, which was fun, but it's basically, there's a collection of Iowa companies and stuff that have been doing business with China for a long time, and it's just funny stuff to say at an event in Taiwan. And the way I plan on, I imagine I'll have a Wikipedia entry eventually, but like I will keep stressing how important Mary is and was to my historical development as a mentor and everything, because Mary is a monarchist, and so I learned a lot about the monarchy stuff, more than I ever thought I would learn, and a historian, so I learned a ton about history just being around her and absorbing it, and I guess in a way diplomacy, just from old stories and everything. And what I hope to achieve with Black Lives Matter Taiwan is to engage in some diplomacy between Taiwan and the US, since I started Black Lives Matter Milwaukee as well. So there's some diplomacy that I'm hoping will happen, some exchange between Black Lives Matter Taiwan and Milwaukee. And as this exchange takes place, like I'll always be quick to say, and Mary Dene and Mary was responsible for my business diplomacy skills. I have a mentor here as well in business diplomacy. I'm just way off the cuff doing whatever. Let me explain what business diplomacy is real quick. What I learned is so Taiwan, because Taiwan isn't recognized as a country, and a lot of places are very hesitant. A lot of news sources are very hesitant to call it a country because of its relations with China. That means there aren't official embassies in Taiwan. We have AIT, which is the American Institute in Taiwan. It's essentially the embassy, but it's not called that. And because of Taiwan's strange position geopolitically, you end up needing business diplomacy. You end up needing official, unofficial people to speak on behalf of Taiwan to other countries, to China, to whatever. So it ends up being this really complex issue that's really interesting. That I guess Mary, you would find the maybe I don't know how much you know about it, but like yeah, it's just now I feel like just telling some history of Taiwan. Like I'm just going all over the place. Taiwan. Let's go back to. I'm not a master at it, but it was a colony of Japan. And what was interesting is Japan put in a lot of infrastructure because Japan was in colonizer mode, and Japan wanted to make Taiwan be like the perfect example of how wonderful it is to be a colony of Japan. And Japan was flush with cash at the time, so they invested a lot in Taiwan. And then you have World War II that goes on with Japan and whoever, and then there's the Civil War going on inside of China with the ROC, the Republic of China. That's what we call Taiwan. That's like the official government name, the Republic of China. And the Republic of China was the governing body of China until the Civil War happened and the Republic of China fled to Taiwan. So in essence, you have these two Chinas, then the CCP, the the Chinese Communist Party, I believe, like running the Chinese mainland, but then you have this other government of China who fled the mainland and then ended up in Taiwan. So there's like these two Chinese governments. So, here. All right, Oscar Grant moved a little bit. So that's a little bit about Taiwan's history. So that the current, I got this from one of the protests. So there was the first event that was the 500 or 400 some people. Then another event was a protest, and they had a bunch of signs that they were giving away at the end. And I grabbed this Oscar Grant sign because he was killed. When he was killed, I was kind of like peak YouTube at the time. So there's a video I made. I said you can't shoot niggers in public anymore, and I use nigger with a hard R because that's how that's how white these niggers. But that was 2009, and happened January 1st, and I happened to make a video of it on January like 4th or 5th or something. I think it was 2009, 2008, 2009. And like I believe Oscar Grant, rest in peace, was the first kind of killing where it got recorded on a cell phone camera, and then YouTube was around for it to get uploaded. Like I think I just watched it on YouTube. YouTube used to. I remember I saw the execution of Saddam Hussein on YouTube. YouTube used to have a lot. It was a little bit more gritty back in the day, and I believe I saw his shooting on YouTube or some other video hosting site, and that was the beginning of me being like, the game has changed. Like, there's going to be cameras everywhere soon, and that's where we are now. There's cameras everywhere, and I knew eventually that a camera was going to catch something so grotesque that it would spark, a revolution of sorts, and that's exactly what you got with George Floyd, with with the guy kneeling on him for almost 9 minutes straight and just choking the life out of him, while there were a handful of cops standing there with their hands in their pockets, just letting it happen, and it communicated such a crazy message about how the police think they're like untouchable. Like that guy thought he was doing like what he was doing was gonna be okay and he'd get away with it. And here's the thing. Previous to there being cameras everywhere, he would have got away with it. And that's the thing that I think a lot of white people in America I think they're getting it now, just because of how grotesque that killing was, is that these kind of killings have been happening for centuries, And even in 2020, where there's police body cameras and people are running around filming everything, a cop still thought it was okay to choke the life out of a person with his knee on his neck while being filmed. It's just the audacity that was put on display there. Just as if you rewind, if you just go back in time, people were more, I don't know if audacious is a word, but they were, they felt confident to do crazier things as you went backwards in time. Anyhow, so before there was a Black Lives Matter, like the hashtag, I was following, all the police shooting stuff that, would get any kind of a viral juice. I was always following it closely. So I caught Black Lives Matter early. And actually, while I was in Iowa, while I was still working for you, yeah, that's the thing. Here's the thing. This is what, Mary is legitimately a part of history. The Black Lives Matter Milwaukee. Now, it's not like I am the genesis of a bunch. Like there are probably hundreds or tens at least of various nonprofits that are there for the African American community of all different levels, whether it's the NAACP or the Wisconsin African American Women's Association. You got it's not like Black Lives Matter made these things come to light, but Black Lives Matter is a vehicle that can be used to shine light on different things or used to harness energy, right? So when I started it in 2015, I was using Mary's car to drive around and set up meetings and do all kinds of stuff. I didn't really have Mary provided those resources for me. So that, I held a couple meetings, I held a couple spoken word events, and I was just waiting for the right people in the right time. And this George Floyd thing, boom, it happened. The right people showed up at the right time. And now, I can't even keep up with what's going on in Milwaukee. But the same thing happened here in Taiwan. I held an event last year. So I had the Facebook page up, and you could see that I held an event. If you're somewhere and there is no Black Lives Matter and you want Black Lives Matter to exist, just do it. It's simple. Start a Facebook page. Start sharing information. You can just do it. Just get it started. And if it's coming from your heart, it's all good. Whether you're, as long as you're coming from the heart, it's gonna be fine. If you're going in I'm gonna sell a bunch of T-shirts or whatever, you can probably do that too. But come at it from the heart. You're really trying to end discrimination, oppression, all these things, not just for Black people, for all peoples, everywhere. I don't know where I was going with everything, but started the event. So boom, Mary, integral for me getting Black Lives Matter Milwaukee started, and integral for me even starting Black Lives Matter Taiwan. For me being able to get over to Taiwan and comfortably transition from the U.S. to Taiwan. Then I do the event, and then this George Floyd thing happens, and things lit up like never before. Just to give you some numbers, the Black Lives Matter Milwaukee Facebook group, I think, had 500 to 600 people in it before this. Right now it's at 3.1 thousand, and growing by tens every day. Every day there's people who want to join the group. And that's where all the protest information and everything is being shared in that group. And I helped find some administration and moderators, but I can't keep up with it. And the number to look at with Black Lives Matter Taiwan is it was maybe 50 page likes. And now it's up over 1,600, and there's been multiple events that have gone on. One went on this past weekend. There's probably something going on this weekend, and I got stuff I'm going to organize. And again, Mary is right in the center of that. Right smack dab in the middle for the history books. Like, always thinking of, what is the best gift I can give Mary? Being written into history. Anyhow, I'll end it there. Pretty long video. Not very focused, but I hope everybody got something out of it. I was thinking maybe I'll do this for the next video, is just more directly talk about how, what steps I took to start Black Lives Matter Milwaukee and Black Lives Matter Taiwan, and help you do the same. Like, if you live in a city and you want there to be a Black Lives Matter chapter there, the next video, that's what I'll say. I'll tell you what I did. You follow the same playbook, and basically you'll get to a point where some people want to help out, and you'll have to be able to delegate tasks for those people. And anyway, we'll go over it in another video. This was a little ramble. Anyway, love you guys. Love you, Mary. Keep calm and crane on. Alrighty. Peace.